the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. The show that gives you the lowdown on how to become a successful real estate entrepreneur. With more than 30 years of experience, America's top female real estate investor Dwan is an expert in financial freedom and turning dreams into realities. Now's your chance to become a Dwandernaire with the help of Dwan. Here's to a flaming hot foreclosure market with the help of Dwan. Cheers.
Hey everybody, welcome to another exciting episode of the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. And today I'm so excited because we have another session of Inside the Minds of Today's Millionaires. And as you know, we talk to people from kind of all walks of life and in all kinds of different businesses. And we try to see what's going on in their head and what they have and what they can offer. And the idea is that you might hear something really interesting or something that you go, oh, hey, that's the missing thing. I've been meaning, that's what I've been missing to launch yourself into the next stratosphere. So you're going to love my guest today because he has a crazy mind. And you know me, the crazier, the better. So my guest today is Victor Maas. Victor, welcome to the show, baby.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited. Now, folks, I've known Victor, gosh, how long has it been? Like 20 years?
I don't know if it's been that long, but it feels like 20 years.
It's been, that's not because it's been long, but because we love each other, right? That kind of
We do. Always exciting to be around you and Bill.
I know. So excited. So I've known Victor for a super long time. And I tell you, he really is a super interesting person. So start off, we have drinks with Dwan. So you have an empty cup. So I'm going to do cheers anyway.
Cheers. There you go.
He's waiting for his Starbucks.
That's right.
So we have a drink and we ask everyone just like, take a deep breath and shake off whatever you have going on.
All right.
And just set your mind to be open and to learn and to listen and to have a good time. So Victor, what we like to do is we like for you to tell us like who you are, what you do now, and how people can reach you. And then we're going to backtrack and find out how we got to being the world's greatest lawyer that's on your cup right there. So, so basically we want to know, what is your deal? And I cannot hear you.
Okay. Are we back?
There we are.
There we go. So we've just set up this whole room so we can do our own podcast. So bear with me.
No
Bella
worries.
is behind the camera. So she's making sure that we can, be all good. So here goes. For those who are watching this, my name is Victor Maas. I live in San Antonio, Texas. I was born and raised here. After high school, I went into the Air Force for 3 years. I lived in Japan for 2 of those years and Saudi Arabia for a few months and some other places. I come out, I go to college, started 2 weeks later. I finished college in 2 years, 4 months. I wanted to get it done. I am focused. Yeah. So as soon as I finished college, I got married and waited for my wife at that time to finish her college about a year later. And then I went to law school in Nebraska for 3 years. Why Nebraska? Because I wanted to freeze my ass. And so
that is the truth.
It was actually a wonderful experience, met some wonderful people. I ended up moving back to San Antonio. And soon thereafter, I started practicing law. I soon realized after about 2 years of practicing law that I was broke. And I'm like, why did I sacrifice if this is what I was going to, lead to? And there's so many attorneys in my town. There's 10 law schools in the state of Texas. And so I'm like, So by chance, I got lucky. I did my first deal just by chance. And I made $13,500. This is like 20 years ago. And I'm like, oh, I got to do this. This is easier. A lot of zeros at the end. I'm going to say something to my associate. Can you make sure she gets my drink? Because I think she just came in. Sorry.
I'm going to ask you the backstory. So just like give us the scoop of today, Victor Maas, and how we reach you and the name of your podcast. Because I always want to make sure that if anyone's listening and they can't listen to the whole thing, they know how to reach you. So it's really important to have all your info at the top of the show notes.
You got it. We recently started our own podcast, the Victor Maas Real Estate Show, and Maas is MAAS as in Sam. So the Victor Maas Real Estate Show. And so I approach my show from solving problems. Even though I'm a real estate lawyer, I'm a real estate broker, real estate investor, nobody cares. What I am really is a problem solver. So when I have sellers that have distressed situations, my mind is trained to how can I solve their problem? How can I give them a fresh start? And so that's how I get these amazing deals all the time. Yeah.
And what's your website?
It's victormoss.com, thevictormoss.com, thevictormoss.com.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, I always like to have, because sometimes people are listening to podcasts and they're driving and they only get to hear 10 minutes of it. And if they like, what they're hearing, I'm like, I always want to make sure right in the beginning, people are like, oh, okay, thevictormoss.com. I can go find this guy and I can learn more about it. Did they bring your drink?
Is she here? Nope, she's not here. So go ahead, proceed. We're good.
Well, that's okay. Well, I'm having warm live enzyme cinnamon tea today.
Nice.
And I know it's August. It wouldn't seem like it, but we're in this apartment and my husband keeps it. It's like the Antarctic in here. I have like long sleeves, long pants. It's like I'm drinking tea because they keep the house so. I'm like, why stop keeping everything so cold?
It's going to be 95 degrees outside today in San Antonio, so I always wear short sleeve shirts all the time.
Yeah, I normally wear tank tops, but it's like nobody wants to see that old lady arm there. So gotta keep that stuff covered on camera, man. Nobody wants to see that. Now, Victor, how old are you now?
I'm 48. I'm going to be 49 in a few months. And I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life, but you never know. Knock on wood.
Well, you are in great shape.
Thank
and girls, just for the record, he is single and he's super hot. I've known him for a long time. So just putting it out there. Like if you go, he's cute, just totally hit him up because he's still single.
I went through a divorce 2 years ago. So after 25 years, that was plenty.
Yeah. So just saying, girls, hey, listen, I met my husband at a real estate workshop. So you just never know. Real estate can be like the way you make money. It can be your dating pool, how you find a nice hot woman. I mean, we just got to let the girls out there know because it's like nothing to sneeze at over here. He's cute. He works out. He's successful. I've known him for a long time and he's super nice. So do you remember that time we went out on that boat in San Antonio and it was so cold?
It was January on the San Antonio Riverwalk, and we had to keep you covered in the blanket. I remember that. It was a good time.
I gave you like my hat, and Bill had my gloves, and we were all like sharing what we had to stay warm.
Yeah. Oh
my God.
Sharing body heat and all.
I have laughed about that so many times. It's like, that'd be great. And it was freezing that night.
Which is rare for San Antonio.
I know.
That was one of them.
I love San Antonio though. It's just, that whole Riverwalk thing is just, it's one of my favorite places to go.
Nice.
Really one of my favorite places. So let's kind of, let's backtrack. Like Victor Maas, like 13, 14, 15, what were you doing?
Being an idiot. I'm certain of that. But, trying to find my way through life like everybody else.
What were you doing? Were you thinking about business? Were you just thinking about
God,
girls?
no.
Were you wild? What were you doing?
I was thinking about the hot girl down the street from me. That's probably what I was thinking about all the time. But no, my goal as a teenager is like everybody else, just trying to figure life out. It wasn't until I went into the military and I realized that crap rolls downhill. And if you're at the bottom of the totem pole, you're going to get all the crap. So I made a commitment to myself to go to college as soon as possible. So I started taking a class here or there when I was in the military. I didn't take like 5 classes, but it helped me graduate undergrad when I got out of the military like in 2 years and 4 months because I just sucked it up. A lot of people are not willing to sacrifice. And I wish they'd understand sacrifice doesn't mean you have to give up your life. It just means for a short period of time, you have to sacrifice. And then guess what? You get the rewards of life. So many young people that are maybe watching this are not willing to sacrifice. And then 10 years, 20 years down the road, they're going to miss out on some amazing life opportunities because they weren't willing to sacrifice early in life. I've gone 6 trips this year alone, I
know my oldest daughter, she's like, I'm going to finish college in 2 years. And she did. She buckled down and she was done 2 years. She had a degree, an international, some kind of degree and done. And then, she was able to kind of travel and run and do a few things. But I was like, hey, listen, if you can knock it out in a couple of years, go for it. Because I
And
mean, just drag
nowadays,
it on.
and now a lot of days, these high schools now have these dual programs where if you go to certain classes, you get both college and high school credits. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, I wish I'd had that back when I was in school. I would have finished even faster.
Oh yeah, we had not. I grew up in such a small town in Ohio. There was nothing,
Yeah.
nothing like that. So, and my both my daughters. I think I told you this before. Both my daughters speak Japanese. So in high school, they only offered Spanish and what are they? Spanish and French, I
French.
think.
Yeah.
And they both wanted Japanese. So the school agreed if they would go to the community college and take Japanese lessons there, that could be their language. So during
Nice.
high school, they went down to Red Rocks Community College up in Colorado, and they
Yeah.
took Japanese classes, and that was their language. They did Japanese throughout high school and got credit for that.
Well,
But
I
I was
lived in
like,
Japan
wow,
for 2 years. I
I
learned a
know,
few
and you lived
words.
in
That's
Japan
about
for a
it.
couple years.
Konnichiwa and domi arigato. And there you go. So there you go.
Ah, no, one of my daughters actually teaches English to the Japanese kids online. She's really used her language skills. So I
Oh,
was like,
hell
wow, good for
yeah.
you. There's a lot of kids that go to school for something and then they don't really use it.
That's most kids.
Yeah, but that's good.
Yeah.
So you became a lawyer. Did you have like a specialty of your law that you
Yes. Strictly residential transaction work. So I do deeds. I do owner finance. I do affidavit of heirships when people die without wills. I clear up title issues and judgments. I do subject to transactions, which you're very well acquainted with,
Oh yeah.
where we do a deed, we do a 3-page disclosure, a limited power of attorney, and a deed of trust to secure the performance. So that way all parties are protected. So we do
Nice.
that part. I do a lot of what I do is because I need that as an investor. Whatever I
Exactly.
do, I just share it with my community and try to do that work for them.
How many deals have you done now?
I've lost count, a few hundred, I mean,
Nice.
a few
I know you've
hundreds,
done a lot. You've
Yeah.
done hundreds.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I'm not trying to do 50 or 100 deals a year. I'm happy if I do 15 to 20 a year. And I'll tell you why. The quality of my deals are just so freaking rocking amazing. May I share an example with you?
Yeah.
Okay. So my last 2 deals, which I closed, I didn't do one in July, but I did 2 in June.
Mhm.
The one was a rehab, one was a wholesale. The wholesale, no, I think the wholesale was last month. It was in July. We made 70 on that one, a wholesale.
Nice.
70. Yeah. And that's not even my best one. That's a good one. In fact, that's a great one. But in June, I rehabbed and resold a property and I sold it for 235. I put 35 into rehab and I acquired it for 20.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's a great deal.
No, that's a grand slam of a deal. And here's the thing. The reason I was able to get that deal is there was a $160,000 federal judgment against it. And I got rid of the judgment for zero. And all I had to give was the 2 sons, the heirs. All I had to give them was 10 grand each. And I'm like, I bought the house for 20 grand.
That's
And
it.
I put
I
35
love
into
that.
it. And there you go.
And that's a good point that you brought up is I don't think most investors know that there can be judgments, there can be IRS liens, there can be all these code violations, and
Mhm.
people don't know you can negotiate those things off.
Absolutely.
How
Yeah.
much
And
was that
Texas
judgment on that
has,
property?
what's that?
How much was that judgment on that property?
160.
Yeah. And see, most investors look at that and just go, oh, well, how am I going to get rid of a $160,000 judgment? I don't have that. And they would just pass on that deal.
Absolutely. I love those deals because I know Texas law. For example, there's a 10-year statute of limitations on judgments.
I did
That's
not know
right.
that.
Yes, you do. And also Texas has a property code here in Texas that does not allow judgments on homesteads.
Yes.
And
Florida
there's a
has the same
mechanism in
law.
place. Yeah, there's a mechanism in place that you notify the creditor and say, hey, sign the partial release. If you don't, then after 30 days, I can file a counter affidavit to their judgments and wipes them all off.
Nice.
Now,
Yeah,
the
see,
question
people
is,
don't-
do I tell the seller this? Hell no. No, I don't.
Hey, the seller is working with you for you to help them, and that's part of what you do. But
I took their problem away.
I have bought so many properties over the years, especially in Florida, the code violations. Because you get a code violation for whatever. You got a car parked in your yard, and at some point it adds up $200 a day. It ticks away, and next thing you know, you got $60,000. And I used to just go to the hearings and say, hey, I'm going to buy this house, take this up, blah, blah, blah. And people were like, how are you doing that? I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just doing it.
Dwan,
And
you are a problem solver. That's what you
I,
are.
I
We all
am a
know
problem
this.
solver.
Yes.
And, it's something, Victor, you and I were talking about right before we started recording. I just recently did a podcast. Oh, there's your coffee. Now we can have a proper toast.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh,
On,
that's so good.
on,
All right.
I know. I love having my tea. It's like, so on my Tuesday podcast, I just teach about real estate, and on Thursdays I interview like great people like you. And I just did one within the last 30 days, and what I put to the audience is, what is it that in real estate investors, what do you think real estate investors actually do? So that was the question I posed to everyone, because I don't think people understand that as real estate investors, we don't actually flip houses and rehab. We solve problems.
That's it.
And as
That's
soon as
it.
you recognize, okay, my job, if I want to be an investor, it doesn't matter about flipping all the stuff. It's like, if I can solve the problem, I can help the homeowner and I can get that deal. And as soon as I feel like when investors change their mindset to problem solving instead of what's the most amount of money I can pull out of this deal, and they change their mindset, they're so much more successful, because that is actually what we do.
Absolutely. I can tell you some of the craziest things I've done for sellers.
Oh, well, let's hear two crazy stories, because we love crazy stories at Dwanderful.
Okay. So this was, I think, one of the best ones ever. A few years ago, a lady was getting foreclosed. Nobody could find her. And I did. I solved the problem. I found her living at a Motel 6. And
Wow.
I knew she had a bankruptcy attorney. So I reached out to him and I said, how much does she owe you still? And he said, oh, $1,300. And I said, tell you what, I'll make it $2,000 if you can get her in front of me and help me negotiate a deal with her. And he did. And just for bringing her to the property, I was able to get that deal that nobody else could. But what's funny about that is she had another property that was her mother's that she inherited. And I eventually bought both properties together, 3 large dumpsters, 14 large dumpsters. She was a hoarder. Yeah. You've done plenty of rehabs. You know how much garbage you have to have 14 dumpsters for one person. I mean, she just never threw anything away. So that was disgusting, but I was able to get her an apartment, get her some fresh furniture, give her a fresh start. And basically help her pack up all her garbage through all the garbage she had and put it into a big old storage container for her. I remember buying her a case of Stella beer because that's what would keep her calm, And by the way, that attorney, I had him represent her on both deals, paid him $2,000 again. So no one can claim that I took advantage of her because she really was needing someone to help her out.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that is like such an amazing thing. Now I have to be honest, my biggest hoarder house was 6 40-yard dumpsters. 6. And I was just like, how can any person have this much stuff?
Yeah.
And 14, though, that breaks every record I've ever heard.
That's not the grossest part. That's not even the grossest part of that story. The grossest part.
The gross part.
The toilets weren't working, so she went to Home Depot and bought 5-gallon containers with lids and did her business in this and kept covering them up. So my workers had to keep taking them out with masks and puking on the yard. It stunk so bad.
And she kept all the buckets.
Yep. Yeah. There you go.
Well, listen, you get that award. Woohoo! You get the award for the most amount of dumpsters out of one house. I have never heard of 14.
Yep. And they were the big ones too, 30 and 40s.
Yeah, my very first house, I did not know what a hoarder was until those TV shows came on about hoarders. Yep. My very first deal, like 30 years ago, she was a hoarder. And I just remember going like, oh my God, I was in the house. I'm thinking, how can anyone there's like pads like this, barely anywhere. Yeah. I thought, how could anyone live in a place like this? But I did not understand. And now that I know about hoarding, it stuns me that she was able to move out and not take all that stuff with her.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's a psychological issue. And once I started watching that show and reading, I was like, oh my God, my first deal with Barbara, she was a hoarder. How on earth did she just pack up and move and leave all that stuff? It's shocking. Like
It
I
is.
thought, like that.
It
Where
is.
was the therapy? There was just like, hey, you move out, I move in, and here we're gonna go. But gosh darn,
Mm-mm.
14 dumpsters. Like, woof, man. That
Oh, the other first house that I bought from her, we had to kill like 12 rats with shovels.
now, just for you new listeners, I just want you to know all the deals are not like this. But when you've
That's
done
a
a
rare
bunch
one.
of them, and you get with someone like me and Victor that done all that, we laugh about how awful that
Yeah.
stuff is because it's funny. And
I
those
put
are
a $10 bounty per rat. Okay.
that's it. Because a lot of people wouldn't do a deal. They'd be afraid to do a deal like that.
Yeah.
But it's not
Not
even
you and
about
I.
it's not even about doing that deal. It's about that woman needed help.
Big time.
You move her, you help her. She's clearly got psychological issues, and you get that done. And then that person is so happy, and they tell everyone, "Oh my God, Victor Maas is the best." And then you'll get deals from people referring them. So I've done a
Yeah,
lot of
that was
over and
nasty.
above and beyond deals as well. And not for the money, but because there was like the person had no one to help them, the family, there was nobody to help these people. And then you recognize like they really need some help. So I love the fact that you said that in the beginning that you're a problem solver because most real estate investors don't think that way and they don't see themselves as a problem solver. I'm like, oh, I'm an investor. I just flip houses. I just get them. I don't care. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, the more you solve problems and the more you help people, the better you'll do. And I also am
Absolutely.
of the mindset, who wants to close, 25, 30 deals every single month? Like that is so much work. I'd rather do a
Mm-mm.
few deals a month and make, like you said, some of the big, hits where you make 70,000 bucks on a deal because you can take the time to help the people that you're meeting.
It's quality over quantity. I know some people don't think that way, but when you're doing 20 deals a month, you've got to have, 20 people working for you kind of thing. And your overhead is killer. It's killer. I've seen these big operations, these big, companies come into town, try that, and they have a lot of success, but they also have huge overhead in their marketing and their expenses for salaries, and it just kills you. And
I
they
know.
may last it just a few years, and then boom, they're gone.
Yeah, I know. I have people all the time like, oh, I saw so and so that came through town and they told me I can close, 50 deals a month. And I was like, do you understand staffing, people, training? Do you understand? Like, you want to just work for yourself and maybe have an assistant and a small business where you can still become very wealthy. You
Yep.
need to pick better quality deals and do less deals, but do better deals. So I am so on
Oh yeah.
board with that mindset. And I interview a lot of people that are just like, ah, they're just all getting the gold. It's like, people need
They
help.
make no time for life. They make no time for their health. They make no time for their friends or children or families.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just go, 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 go. And I'm telling you, the older I get, the more I just want to just be chill, relax, work on quality versus quantity. Yeah.
Wait till you turn 60. You'll be like, you know what? I'm on the downside of time here. I am going to start having more quality time.
Yeah.
And I was like, after that, I thought, you know what? Wow, I really need to like slow my roll a little bit here because I am getting on up there and I don't want to just bust my ass until I take my last breath.
Mm-mm.
You
No,
know?
no. Excuse me. I just came back from Guadalajara, Mexico last week.
I saw.
And,
So how was
and,
that?
and I'd never been into the interior of Mexico my whole adult life.
Really?
So no, never have. And I'm like, it's like an hour and 45-minute flight from San Antonio to Guadalajara, straight flight. And my God, I had the best time. The best time. I'm like thinking, what other Mexican cities can I go to? Because they're just straight flights, most of them from where my town is.
Yeah.
And so I've been to Cancun, I think one time, but I don't really count that as Mexico because it's like American tourists everywhere.
I
But
like
Guadalajara,
Cancun now.
yeah. Oh, it's great. The sand's amazing. The food's amazing. But Guadalajara, I'm telling you, is like the Chicago of Mexico. It's just amazing. And I'm a spoiled person, so I stayed at the Hilton, Midtown, and
Of course.
Plaza. I felt like I was in Austin instead of Mexico. But the food was just amazing. You saw me posting tons of
Oh,
pictures.
I
I think.
saw all the videos. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, he's having such a good time down there. I love Mexico. I've been down there many, many, many times. And
Yeah.
there's a little cruise. It leaves somewhere in California. And it goes down what's called the Mexican Riviera. It
Yeah.
goes down in like that little park there. I can't remember where the stops are, but we've
Cabo is probably one of them.
I should remember because we've been there like we've done that little tiny cruise like 5 times. But it's
Yeah.
just like a small little thing, and the people are just so wonderful.
Mhm.
They're
Yes,
so
they are.
wonderful, and I really like traveling down through there. So so if somebody was a kind of like a new-ish real estate investor and they're
Yeah.
listening and like, hey, I really like Victor. This guy's really got it going on. Can you give us like 3 tips that listeners could uh, take or use that would maybe help them start their journey?
All right.
So
So
we're thinking like like
Sure, sure,
new-ish,
sure.
like someone's like they're under 5 deals. Like, can you give them 3 tips that can help them get on the path to success?
All right. So I think you need to work on yourself first. That's number one. So I'm going to advise you to read, I think, these 2 books. I'm going to just tell you what they are. I'll go slow with them. The first one is Acres of Diamonds, Acres of Diamonds. And it talks about stop worrying about what you want. Nobody cares what you want. Give people what they want, and then you get paid handsomely. Okay. So that'd be one. The other one is No Excuses by Brian Tracy. I'm a big Brian Tracy fan. He's always setting up systems for systems. And so, yeah, I definitely would go that. Nicole, would you give me a tissue, please? One of my associates on my nose with this coffee is making my nose clear up. Anyway, I'm just so blunt about it. I don't really care. Anyway,
hey, listen, we don't edit here. I have burped and sneezed and got laughing where I was crying and snorted. Yeah. It's all in because that's half the fun is having like a real conversation.
We're real people here. Okay.
We're real people here.
Sorry.
I blow my nose. I have like sinus issues. I blow my nose. I'm just like, sorry guys, just look away for a second.
I'm a real person. Sorry. So no, the first thing I would tell you to do is work on yourself. Get in the right mindset. So these 2 books have really helped me hone in on what I have to do in life. The other book I would really recommend, it's the best book of all time, in my opinion, is The Richest Man in Babylon. And it talks about sacrifice. And if you're not willing to sacrifice and learn your craft, you're just wasting your time. I guess one last thing is, if you're watching this or listening to this, you've got to find a mentor who's already done all this. There's no need for you to have to waste 10, 20 years of your life trying to figure it out because you're such a cheap bastard. Find a mentor. I'm sorry, it's just the truth. I do coaching. I've been doing it for several years. And when I first started, I'd been in the business 10 years. I felt like a fraud coaching. Like, I don't think I'm like Dwan's level or somebody else's level. But the reality is you get these folks that do 3, 4, 5 deals and they think they're experts overnight.
Oh, Lord.
You know what I'm talking about.
Don't even get me started. They do 2 deals and write a program. It's like, don't even get me started.
Yeah. There's clowns in my town, San Antonio. They're crooks. They're not the best of people and they're experts overnight and they're putting out program. Like, really? So find someone who actually does deals, spend a little bit of time with them before you invest with them, and basically listen to them, especially if they've done lots and lots of deals. So if they haven't even done at least 100 deals or more, don't even go that route, but find someone that you can, hitch your wagon onto who's done this and they've got a system. I teach my students basically 3 steps. Find the right deals, find the people or the heirs, and here's how you make an agreement. And that's it. I mean, the rest of it's important, but these 3 are the most important things. So that would be my second piece of advice.
Okay.
Learn these 3 things: how to find the right deals, how to find the heirs or the sellers, and how to put a deal together. And that's step 2 for if you're watching this. So work on yourself, figure out what you need to do. I think the third thing I really want you to hone in on, and you hit it over and over, learn to solve problems. If you don't have these solutions, find someone who does. There's so many, Facebook groups out there of experienced investors, pose the question, hey, here's the scenario. Could you share some ideas? Here's what I'm thinking. Give back. Don't make it all about yourself. There's so many people in this world, all they think about is themselves. If you help people get what they want, you get what you want. Zig Ziglar.
You're preaching to the choir. This is exactly the stuff I say to people too.
I know. You and I were in Dallas one time, and I remember Zig Ziglar's daughter was there. Do you remember that?
Yes.
I think it was for John Jackson's event or somebody's event.
Yeah.
And I thought that was super cool because they preach the right stuff.
Yeah, they do preach the right stuff. So the first tip is learn about yourself. Acres of Diamonds, No Excuses richest man in Babylon. Second tip is learn how to find the deal, the air, and structure the deal. Well, mentor goes with number one. And
Right.
number three is solving problems.
Yeah. Like every year, I swear I'm adding another, technique to solve problems every year. And by the way, there is no overnight success doing this. It's not a hobby for Dwan and I. This is what we do day in, day out.
All the time.
Evenings, weekends, I get calls, texts every day. I get a text. What do you think about this? What do you think about this? And that's what we do. We are passionate about what we do.
Yeah.
Dwan, I'm probably speaking for you, but I think I'm right. You are passionate about what you do in life, not just real estate, but just life.
Yeah.
So be passionate about this. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of zeros, which solves a lot of your problems.
Yep. Now I'm exactly the same way. I've been mentoring people for like 25 years. That's really hard. It's hard to imagine. I think sometimes like, wow, I've been doing this for so long. What the heck? But I'm the same way. I just tell people, the same exact kind of stuff, work on yourself, figure out what exactly you want to do, set the right kind of goals, and mostly help people. And I always tell my students, I'm like, listen, if I find out you took advantage of somebody or you did something wrong, don't even ever call me back for answers, because I'm not going to help you. Like, there'll be none of that horse business around with me, because these people need help.
They do.
And I also like to tell people, like, hey, listen, if you don't feel like you can work with homeowners, or you don't want to listen to the crying or solve the problem, then maybe get your deals from banks or auction companies or somebody else, but don't go work with actual homeowners unless you want to help them through, because they're obviously going through something or they wouldn't be in foreclosure.
Sometimes I'll write a checklist. You can't see this, but I'll write a checklist for the sellers. What do I need to do to earn your business? That's a question I often pose. What do I need to do to earn your business? If I can give you what you need, then hopefully I can earn your business. So do you need a place to live? Do you need help packing? Do you need help moving? Do you need some furniture? Do you need some food in the pantry? What do you need? What are you going to do with the dogs? I'll put them at the Animal Defense League and I'll pay the fee so they don't get put down. They'll get cleaned up and they'll get readopted. I mean, those little techniques go a long way. I had this one lady, I had to go to the DMV 3 times at age 69 to help her get a driver's license, which had expired years ago. 3 times we had to go back and I got it. You want to know the funny part of that whole story? She died within a year because she had terminal cancer, but it meant the world to her to have that driver's license as long as she could.
Oh, that's so sweet. See, most people wouldn't do that. I love investors with your mindset, because I am of the same mindset. And I always, before I even want to take someone on as a coaching student, I want to find out what their real goal is. Is it money? Is it helping? What is the real goal? And if it's not helping and kind of paying it forward and doing the right things, I just don't want to work with people. Time is too short. And I don't want to spend a year working and coaching someone that's just like a greedy dog. It's like, if you're a greedy dog, go work with somebody else. Trust me, I am not your girl, man. I am not your girl.
For those who are listening, I want to share some wisdom with you. There's always new investors coming on board. You have what I call the circus come through town and teaching people how to do real estate investing for $50,000, $100,000. We'll train you how to be investors. But don't worry about them. Your worst competition or your best competition is actually yourself. If you can understand this one fact, you'll never, ever think about anybody else again. There is no competition. Victor Maas has no competition in this town. 0. His worst competition is the guy in the mirror.
Yeah.
So here's what you need to know. Every day, people do, dumb ass things, which creates opportunities for, you and I will always have deals because you can count on people to do dumbass things. They die without a will. They get divorces. They live beyond their means. They don't maintain their homes. And it's not like the amount of houses out there is going down, the inventory. It's actually going up. It's just getting exponentially worse every day. A lot of baby boomers have not maintained their homes. So there's always going to be deals. Seriously. And if it doesn't in your little backyard or your town, Denver, or wherever you're at, go to the next town. There's plenty of deals there. Maybe a mid-sized town where there's not so much advertising for investors to join the ranks. So there's so many towns. Dwan, how many cities are there in America
So
that
many.
you and we couldn't be in our marketplace that you and I could start all over tomorrow? Hundreds.
Hundreds, thousands.
Yeah. Yeah. And it doesn't even have to be anything over 100,000 town. It could be under
No.
100,000.
I'm in my old background here. This is my stuff out of my antique wall. We're in Clinton, Iowa, and this is such a small town. And we bought 20 buildings in this little town.
Yeah.
So we're like revitalizing this town. And there are deals and houses. My kids are buying rentals like crazy, and people are like, oh, it's such a small town. I'm like, that's right. There's no other investors here. We seem to be like the only ones. And we're
Yeah.
snapping up deals like left and right. It's crazy how many deals are out there.
Absolutely. They're everywhere.
So many
They're everywhere.
crazy
And you don't need 1,000 deals. That's the best part about this story. You don't need 1,000 deals. You lock up 50, 100 properties, you're set for life.
Yeah, you are. You are. So
Yeah.
let me ask you this. Tell me what your favorite food is.
Ooh, okay. So even though I am of Mexican descent, I don't really like Mexican food from San Antonio or Texas, generally speaking. I know it's too heavy and my fitness means the world to me. Okay.
Yeah.
But I go to Guadalajara, Mexico last week, and oh my God, I was in hog heaven.
Yeah,
The cuisine was just out of this world. But prior to that, I would tell anybody who'd ask me what's your favorite food, I'd say Indian food.
Oh,
in
I
India.
love Indian food.
Yeah, I love Indian food. Yes.
It's one of the number one things when we go out to eat, or especially with anybody else. Like, hey, how do you guys feel about Indian? Because shockingly, a lot of people have never had Indian food.
I know.
It surprises me. People are like, I've taken
Mhm.
so many people for their first time. It's like, you have never had Indian food? So
Did
good.
I take you too? I took Cole and Bella behind the camera. I took them both to their first Indian experience. And what do y'all think? It's good. It's good. Okay. No, but
It's delicious.
the naan is amazing and the
naan's
sauces
amazing.
are amazing. There you go.
I know. I found a new place up here in Iowa, actually. It's at like 45 minutes away. It's over in like a major Davenport, because this little town, there's no Indian
Yeah.
food here. But they have samosas, which normally I'm not a big lamb samosa fan. I like the vegetables, but not the lamb. And I thought, I'm in a new place. I'm gonna try it. Oh my God, it was like crack. It was so good. I ate like 6 of them. I was like, this is the best thing I've ever had in my entire life. So now I'm like, hey, I want to go get some samosas over there because they're amazing. So we took Bill's sister and cousin and a few people with us, and no one had ever, and they're all in their 60s. It was like, how have you never experienced this food? Not even a bite. But now they all go. I got them all hooked on Indian food.
Well, food is amazing if you find the right type. I've traveled all over the world. I'm telling you, there's some amazing food out there. I love Japanese food all the way around.
Me too.
I love Indian food. French food is the richest food, of course. I'm not a big fan of English food. Okay. I'm sorry. Turkish food's amazing. Mediterranean's amazing. So there's so many things out there, but seafood, sushi, that kind of stuff, it's amazing stuff.
Yeah, I'm a big sushi. If I have one thing I could eat, like that would be it. Sushi's my thing. I love sushi. All right. So tell me, who was your favorite band of all time?
Okay. So can I give you 3?
No.
Okay.
Favorite band of all time.
All right. If I had to put on one group right now on my Spotify, one group that just, I would say Queen.
Ah,
That's yours.
I love Queen.
I know you do.
I
love
love Queen.
Freddie Mercury, his voice just resonates. It's amazing. Honestly.
That I'm right
Yeah.
there with you. I just like I said, I was telling you, we watched that movie again last night. I watched that movie, Bohemian Rhapsody, 100 times. I love Queen. I was lucky enough to have seen them in concert about 5 times.
Nice.
And I'm telling you, the first time I saw a Queen concert, I felt like my life was changed.
Mhm.
It's just like,
I have an affinity for English bands, whether it's the Beatles, the Stones, Led Zeppelin,
Oh,
these
yeah.
guys. Right now, one of my favorite guys out there is the Heavy. So
Yeah.
they're English band. I love them.
Yeah.
There's some other really good ones out there. Passenger is pretty awesome right now for me.
yeah, I love them all. I love them
Yeah.
all. Now, where is your one place in the world, your favorite one place that when you're at this place, everything in the world seems right to you?
All right. So I have not only just the place, but a specific spot at
Even
this
better.
place. Yellowstone.
Oh, nice. Really?
I've traveled all over the world, seen some amazing things. I've flown over Mount Fuji, look straight down. Okay. Yellowstone does it for me. The nature, the colors, the sun reflecting off the caverns underneath the big fall.
Oh, yeah.
There's an area you can sit there, and I swear there's like a million colors in the natural formations, just reflecting off the sun.
It's
You hear
beautiful.
the birds, you see the wildlife. I'm in my Zen moment right there.
Right there. I love
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I know everyone's
How about
got
you?
a spot. For me, my favorite place is when I'm in Hawaii.
Okay.
There's something about like the smell of the air and the sound and just the water and the vibe. When I'm in Hawaii, I'm just like, everything in the world is perfect right now.
There you go.
It's something about the air. It's the air. It's the way the ions or something off of the air. Something that when I get there, I just like my soul just melts.
You just reminded me when I went to Hawaii a few times. I was staying at Waikiki. I don't know if it's Sheraton or whatever, but anyway, I go into the town and I found this little breakfast place, probably twice the size of this room, tiny. They made pancakes, eggs.
Yeah.
What's the beef that in the can? Come on,
Spam.
spam, which wasn't very good, by the way.
Hawaiian spam with the rice. Oh.
Yes, you know it. But they made fresh pineapple juice, and for
Ooh.
$4.99 back in the day, I ate that breakfast like 5 days in a row just because I enjoyed it so much and it was a bargain. So I remember walking through the streets of downtown Honolulu just to go for that. Whatever.
Yeah, we've been to all the islands, and I actually like Oahu the best.
Mhm.
It's got, they have like the North Shore where they do the surfing, and I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, something about it. When I first time I went there, I just like took that deep breath in for all the air. I was like, wow, okay, this is different than any place I've ever been. So, and weirdly enough, as much as Bill is not a beach guy,
Yeah.
he loves Hawaii too.
My favorite second spot is actually by your neck of the woods in Colorado, the top of Brackenridge.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
Next time
God.
you come, you have to come stay with us because the closest ski resort to us is Breckenridge. So when
Very nice.
we go over, we drive the back way. We live up the way we live in the mountain. We go like around the back road and come in through the mountainside into Breckenridge.
Yes.
Well, like not even 45 minutes from our house. So that's one of our places. We'll take our grandkids and hey, let's go spend the day in Breckenridge and just roam around Breckenridge. Okay, so
Keep going.
I took a lot of notes, so we're gonna do a summary and
Bring it.
see if we were able to get inside the mind of Victor Maas. So
Okay.
first of all, 48 girls, he's single. Just putting that out there again.
Thank you for that, Dwan.
I gotta watch
Okay.
out for you, man. The Victor Maas Real Estate Show. We can find you at thevictormaas.com. You
Mhm.
are an attorney. You do mostly residential. And let's see, when you were young, you were more kind of interested in like girls running around, trying to figure out life. You went to college, knocked it out in 2 years, which is amazing. You did 15 to 20 deals a year. You just recently did a $70,000 flip. And one of your really great deals that really helped somebody, she found a woman just living in a Motel 6. She had 14 dumpsters because she was such a hoarder, rats, the whole thing. And you were able to help her and get her relocated, which was really sweet. And the 3 tips are take care of yourself and a mentor, work on deals, heirs, and structuring deals, and learn how to become a problem solver. And your food is Indian, Queen, and Yellowstone.
That's
So is
right.
that a little bit of Victor Maas's mind?
I think so. I have got to tell you something funny. I'll finish with this. Find your passion, whatever it is, but it needs to be about helping other people, not yourself. If you're that person, you're that selfish, narcissistic, you'll never get ahead in life for real. For real. You'll never be happy. Take pleasure in helping human beings get a fresh start or, solving their problems. And I promise you the money will follow if it's in real estate.
I cannot agree more. So at the end of every show, we give out an assignment. I have a thing called the 5 equities of life.
Okay.
And my regular listeners, they know it's financial, spiritual, physical, mental, or family. And at the end of every single show, I give out an assignment, an equity and an assignment, but I like for my guests to do it. So we want you to honor us this week and give us our leg equity and give us our assignment.
Oof. Equity. Can you give me an example?
No, I already gave Cole example. So
What was that, Cole?
pick a category. Did he not tell you this?
No, he didn't tell me.
Oh, well, here's the fun then. You get to do it on the spot. So
Okay.
pick a category: financial, physical, mental, family, or spiritual.
Physical.
Okay, we'll take physical.
Yes.
And then just give us something simple that everyone can do. What I ask people to do is do it for a week. If it adds value to their life, I want them to keep doing it. And if it doesn't add value, at least it kind of shook them up and they did something different this week than what they normally do.
Okay.
So, like, don't tell
Here's
people
my
to work out for
challenge.
3 hours a day because nobody's going to do that. So,
No,
give us a challenge that everybody can do.
Okay. So I think you know this, Dwan. I went through a divorce 2 years ago.
Yep.
And for 30 days, I challenged myself to go jog every day.
Okay.
So I try to do it early in the morning or super late at night while the sun was down. So that way I don't overheat. So I did that. And the reason I did that is I was going through a divorce and I had, some extra weight, from being a dad, whatever. But I did it. And I did it every day for 20 days. And then I missed that 21st day. So you know what I did the next day? I ran 13.1 miles and I was able to finish it. And nobody was around. Nobody gave me a medal. It was just me for me. So my challenge to you is this: work on your physical. If you can do that and get a good night's sleep and drink water and avoid the sugars and the sodas, the quality of your life, I promise you, will be so much better. Okay. I know Bill went through a health scare a while back. He's now doing great. He eats better. He drinks better. Your health is all you got at the end of the day. So I challenge you for, a week. Try jogging, whatever you can. I don't care if it's a half mile, 2 miles, 5 miles, and do it for you. Get your workout shoes ready in the morning or late at night, your shorts, your shirt, get some earbuds. I buy them off Amazon, $40. I sync it to my phone. I just go and I tell the world to fuck off, excuse me, and just work on yourself. If you can do that, your life will be so much better. You'll feel better. Your clothes will just fall off. Funny story. About 2 months after I got in my divorce process, none of my clothes fit me anymore. I had to get all my suits retailored, had to go buy new suits, new pants. Shirts were just floppy as can be. I've learned to tailor them and make myself feel good. Got into some colognes. You get me. Just take pride in your appearance, not just by putting on fancy clothes, but
all right. So your sound went out. Whoever's controlling your sound.
But there we go.
I hear you.
Okay, we're good.
All right, we got that. Yeah, I agree with you. It's taking care of your health. And, most people wait till they have a health scare. Like Bill did. Then you get a health scare. You're like, ooh. And, if you just take care of yourself ahead of time, you may not actually ever have a health scare.
That's true. That's true.
So, okay. So it's been super great having you. I have one more little thing, but I want to kind of give a summary here. So, for everyone that's listening, I want you to listen to the Victor Maas Real Estate Show. And obviously keep listening to the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. And Victor and I, all the people that do podcasts, podcasts are definitely a labor of love. And it takes us, a lot of time to put together the show and the editing and the show notes and all things like that. So I want to encourage everyone to listen to his show, keep listening to my show, and give us 5-star reviews and take a minute and actually write a really great review. So give us 5 stars and write a great review, because that helps our shows grow and helps us be able to cover and talk to more people and, spread our word a little bit further. And when you have someone like Victor with such a good heart, a lot of people need to hear that, because as you all know, there are not a lot of people with that great heart and that mindset that you have. So I want to encourage you. I also want to encourage you to go to Dwanderful.com and opt in. I have 4 free ebooks for you. Wholesaling, short sales, Successonomics, and Stand Apart. So I have 4 cool things for you. I'm sure if they go over to thevictormaas.com, there's something over there for them as well. What do we have over there?
We have a free ebook that I wrote, my book, my life story, how I bought houses with no money down.
Okay, nice. So go and get that. because
Yeah.
we're always, we do everything we can to help you guys be successful, the
Yes.
tips and the tools and all the things that we do, but you have to take the first step. It all starts with you. Like you were saying, Victor, they take care of themselves. It all starts with you. So thank you for being on the show. I just love your spirit. I'm so happy to see you looking so amazing. So what is your final parting word of wisdom?
Take massive, imperfect action at
Massive
everything in life.
and perfect action. Okay, guys, you heard it here. That is Victor Maas. Thank you, honey. You are a rock star.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, everyone. So tune in next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. And remember, the truth is in the red letters. Okay. Ciao. Victor, thank you so much for being part of our show today.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you for dropping by to the most wonderful real estate podcast ever, making real estate investment Dwanderful each and every time. And for more information on how to make your real estate dreams a reality, keep an eye on Dwanderful.com and be sure to become a member.